Hi, this is video 2 on how to build jazz chords on every string of the guitar. So hopefully you've seen the first lesson, which was building the major 7th chords, because we're going to use those chords as a springboard to create the next chord, which is a dominant 7th, or 7th chord, whichever way you want to call it. So again, we're going to use C as our note of choice all the way across, but remember, every chord we make will produce the other 11 chords, okay? So that is key. Every chord is completely movable. Thing to know about a 7th chord, it's not, C7 does not belong in the C major scale, okay? Its spelling should tell us that, because it's got a B flat in it. The 7th is a B flat. A 7th chord, a dominant chord, is the 5th chord that's built on a scale, okay? So if you want to find out where the parent scale of a 7th chord is, you can either count back 5 notes of a scale, so going back from C, B flat, A, G, F. So C7 belongs in F major. Okay, or you can count up 4. C, D, E, F. Simple. Okay, easy to find as well on a guitar. You find a C, F is right next to it. Saves counting backwards. Just go up 4. Okay, so, and the key with the dominant chord, it often leads to the parent chord. A perfect cadence, okay? So, leaving that bit of theory aside, we're going to work on creating the chords. So, our first chord is C. Our first note is C. We know that the notes C, E and G make up C major. We now need a flat 7th. On our C major 7, it was C, E, G, B. To make a dominant 7th, it should be C, E, G, B flat. Okay, so that's the only note we have to alter from our major 7th chord. In this case, spelled C, B, E, G. We have to flatten the B on the 7th to create our dominant 7th chord. And all we do is we bring back B from the 9th fret of the D string down to the 8th fret. And now we have C7. And then onto the A string. Again, we'll play our C major 7th chord, which is spelled C, G, B, E, and we know that we have to flatten the B to make B natural to make a B flat, and there is B on the 4th fret of the G string. We're going to reduce it down a semitone to be on the 3rd fret, and the first finger will take over with the bar, and C7 is formed. All the other notes remain as they were. The thing about the C, or in this case the A string chords, is you can build another one on C. There's our simple C chord that we all know and love, one of the first chords we ever learned. If we add B flat to it, putting our little finger on the 3rd fret of the G string, we create another chord. So we got C7 again. So it's spelled C, E, B flat, C. So in this case there's no 5th in it, there's no G, but it's not exactly necessary to have the 5th in if it's just a standard perfect 5th. So that's just another variation on a theme. Again, it's completely movable because it's a closed chord, no open strings, and they're very handy to have in your repertoire. The 3rd chord, we're coming off the D string now. We find C up there on the 10th fret of the D string, and our chord before, major 7, was that. Spelled C, G, B, E. Right, so it's one note, and then the 3rd finger was barring the top 3 strings. We need to flatten the B on the B string down to B flat on the B string, so taking it from the 12th to the 11th fret, and we're left with this. So it's spelled C, G, B flat, E. And moving on, to the G string, we find C on the 5th fret. If we remember, our chord was this, with C on the G string, but G being played on the D, E on the B string on the 5th fret, all barred with the 1st finger, and the 7th note, B, was played with the little finger or 3rd finger, depends on the size of your hand, on the 7th fret. So, to make a dominant 7th, we have to flatten the 7th, which is quite easy to see in this case, down a semitone, so let the 2nd finger take over, and then we have C7. Very practical and useful chord. You probably already know it, you've probably come across it when you played A7 in the past. Okay, there's nothing new. So, that was C on the G string, now we need C on the B string. And our chord was quite complex before. It was built like that. Okay, so it was spelled E, B, C, G. So we can see B is here on the 4th fret of the G string. I need to bring it down to the 3rd fret of the G string. So we can alter the finger slightly. And now, this is a very useful chord, as opposed to the major 7, which was a bit of a stretch. So this chord is spelt E, B flat, C, G. But still a perfect dominant 7th chord. And our last chord, C on the 8th fret of the E string. Before it was spelt C, G, and then E, B. So it was a mini bar, 1st finger holding down 2 notes on the 8th fret, being E strings, and then the 3rd and 4th fingers holding down 2 notes on the 9th fret, which was the E and the B on the G string and the D string. So in this case we have to flatten the B, which is there, bring it down to the 8th fret. So go from the 9th fret of the D string to the 8th fret, we'll produce a B flat. To make this chord easier to play, we just bar across 4 strings of the 8th fret, and then put our 2nd finger down on the 9th fret of the G string to produce the 3rd. And then we have a dominant 7th chord. We just use those chords that we built just to hear how they go with the parent chord, so you can hear the resolution. So here's C7. You can hear that finality, it sounds perfect. And C7, we'll use this one for now. And this one up here. And then this one. And this one. And finally this one. There you go. So if you see a 7th chord, you can usually guess that it's leading to a major chord, which is a parent chord, but only in normal music. In blues, you know it's going somewhere else. Cheers. Bye.